Hey everyone, Evan Jones with you here on the RPAC Rundown podcast. We've got a great episode lined up for you once again this week. We will recap the featured matchups we had last week. We were in Alma on Friday for the D15 district final between the Cardinals and the Brady Eagles. Alma punched their first ever ticket to Lincoln for the NSAA Girls State Basketball Tournament. Then on Saturday, we were in Aurora for the D18 district final between Bertrand and Elmwood Murdoch. Then we will preview the Girls State Basketball Tournament as we have two RPAC squads in Alma, as we mentioned, and Southwest. Worth mentioning for Southwest, this is their first time they have qualified for the state tournament also since being Southwest. Of course, Rep Valley had qualified before, but it's the first time for Southwest. Both Alma and Southwest are in Class D1 and have some interesting matchups. Finally, it'll be Athletes of the Week brought to you by First Central Bank at the end of the show. As always, check us out on social media and at rpacrundown.com. Of course, the RPAC Rundown podcast is brought to you by a bunch of great sponsors like Arapahoe Rehab and Fitness, Cambridge Supermarket, Webb's Oilfield Service, Cambridge Rehab and Fitness, Onyx Native, and C+. We'll take a break. You're listening to the RPAC Rundown podcast. What a night for the Cardinal girls basketball team and the Alma community. For the first time in their school's history, number 5 seed Alma is heading to the NSAA Girls State Basketball Tournament after beating number 12 seed Brady 63-23 in the D15 district final. For the Cardinals, they have been so close so many times. Since the 2019-2020 season, Alma has played in district finals in 2020, 2022, 2023, 2024, and now in 2025. And in 2025, they made it happen as they were able to qualify for state. Alma had 3 players in double figures. Kirsten Moore scored 17, Cameron Scott scored 16, and Miley Whitney had 10. Chase Malzahn added 8. This RPAC Rundown featured matchup was brought to you by Wakanda Boats and Motors, Clearview Realty, Dr. Jesse Neal Dental Care, Hayes Seed, Alma Livestock Auction, and Agriculture Precision Specialists Dave Whitney. We'll take a break and then discuss the boys' D18 district final between Bertrand and Elmwood Murdoch. On Saturday afternoon, number 8-seeded Bertrand and number 9-seeded Elmwood Murdoch met in Aurora and fought for the right to play at the NSAA Boys State Basketball Tournament in Lincoln next week. In this matchup, Elmwood Murdoch was able to capture the victory by a final of 52-44 in this D18 district final. It was an excellent effort from Bertrand, who found themselves down early but never gave up. Throughout the game, Bertrand had to mix up their lineups a little bit as Elmwood Murdoch had excellent size. They start athletes at 6'2", 6'8", and 3 players at 6'3" in their starting lineup. So some solid size for the Knights. Bertrand was led by Thunder Nelson and Marcus Hernandez with 17 points. Caden Hatfield had 4, and Marshall Steinbrink and Hunter Nelson each had 3. This was Bertrand head coach Craig Newcomb's final game at the helm as he is retiring from coaching. Congrats to Coach Newcomb on an excellent career. Nuke is a good friend of mine. Competed against him when I was an athlete in high school and have always respected the way that he has done things as a coach. So again, congrats, Coach Newcomb, on a great career. This RPAC Rundown featured matchup was brought to you by Vossler Electric, First State Bank, Aurora Co-op, Divine Boutique, C+, and Cross Diamond Cattle Company. Let's take another break, and then we will preview the 2025 NSAA Girls State Basketball Tournament for Southwest and Alma. So the 2025 NSAA Girls State Basketball Tournament begins this week, beginning on Wednesday, runs through Saturday. We have 2 RPAC teams in it, both in Class D1, Southwest, and the number 3 seed, Alma, the number 5 seed. In our most recent blog for girls basketball, we have the NSAA Hub linked to check out all the state information, the matchups, brackets, times, anything you might need to know for the state tournament. Also, we have the bracket on social media, so you can check it out there. But first, let's look at the first round matchups for our RPAC teams. First, number 5 seed Alma versus number 4 seed Superior. This is the second time these two squads have faced one another. Superior won back on January 4th, 53-34. Kind of an odd game, odd circumstances. Both teams had to deal with it. Just kind of a strange deal. It was early in the morning because of an ice storm that was coming in. I think it was like 9 a.m. they played that game. I don't remember for sure, but it was an early game that they played, but Superior got the win 53-34. Alma comes into this one with a record of 20-6. Superior is 20-4. The game is at Pinnacle Bank Arena on Wednesday at 10:45 a.m. For Superior, they're led by Reagan Myers. She's a sophomore averaging a double-double, 16.1 points and 12 rebounds. She stands at 6 foot tall, so Alma will have their hands full with her. Sadie Cornell is an excellent player too. She had 25 points against Alma earlier this season. She averages right around 15 points per game. And then Hallie Bargan, I think I'm saying that correct. She scores 11 points per game for Superior. As a team, they average 54 points per game, 36 rebounds, 11 turnovers, 12 steals, 13 assists. They shoot 40% from the field, 21% from the three-point line, and they shoot 55% from the charity stripe. Now for Alma, they're led by Cameron Scott at 14 points per game, Tierston Moore at 11 points and 7 rebounds. Chase Malzahn averages 6 points per game. It's going to be important for Alma. Camry Neal, Miley Whitney, Vaden Epp, and others will need to be really solid with the rock, take care of the ball, and some of those players are going to have to knock down some shots too for the Cardinals if they want to make a run in the tournament. Alma averages 52 points per game, 29 rebounds, 12 assists, 17 steals, 18 turnovers, and they shoot 39% from the field, 24% from three-point range, and right about 50% from the free throw line. I think this has a chance to be an excellent game. Alma needs to shoot the ball well and defend the paint. It looks like I'm excited to watch this one, to say the least. Should be really interesting matchup, 10:45 a.m. on Wednesday morning at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Now for number 3 seed Southwest versus number 6 seed Cedar Catholic. This game is at 7:45 p.m. on Wednesday at the Bob Devaney Sports Center. Cedar Catholic has played a tough schedule. They're 15-11. Aniston Wortman is averaging 12 points per game. Addison Walter is at 12 points per game too. They have a variety of players that can chip in from 4 to 8 points per game. They average 48 points per contest, 30 rebounds, 10 assists, 10 steals, 19 turnovers, 36% shooting from the field, 60% from the free throw line, and 23% from the three-point line. Southwest, they are 23-1. Their lone loss came early in the season to Maywood Hayes Center, and of course, Maywood Hayes Center played in a district final in Class C2. Aspen Billiter leads Southwest with 16 points per game. Kira Nelms at 12 points per game and 9 rebounds. Anastasia Gallegos with 8 points per game. They also have a number of players that chip in all over the floor and do a lot of good things for the Rough Riders. Southwest averages 56 points per game, 36 rebounds, 12 assists, 15 steals, 18 turnovers, 38% shooting from the field, 24% from three, and 56% from the free throw line. This one could be a really interesting matchup, to say the least. Also, I think both these teams are very good, which when you get down to state, everyone's going to be pretty darn good. This will be a really interesting one, though, too. I think both Alma and Southwest have some interesting matchups for sure. So be on the lookout for coverage from us during the tournament, as we'll have information for you throughout the tournament with blogs and such like that. And on social media, we'll have updates as well. So we'll take a break. Then it'll be time to go through the athletes of the week, brought to you by First Central Bank. Welcome back to the RPAC Rundown podcast. It's time to announce the RPAC Rundown Athletes of the Week, brought to you by First Central Bank. Let's plan for tomorrow together. First Central Bank, member FDIC. Our female athlete of the week goes to Abby Spargo of Dundee County Stratton. Spargo had 14 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks in the Tigers' 46-42 loss to Dorchester in the D24 district final. Our male athlete of the week goes to Isaac Hamilton of Southern Valley. Isaac had 30 points, 6 made three-pointers, 5 rebounds, 3 steals in the Eagles' 63-47 loss to Overton in the D110 sub-district tournament. Our Athlete of the Week awards are brought to you by First Central Bank, member FDIC. That will do it for this week's episode of the podcast. Of course, we'd like to thank our great sponsors of the pod, like JBK Operating LLC, Scouts Recreation, First Central Bank, Cross Diamond Cattle Company, Tri-Valley Medical Foundation, and Prairie Girl Candle Company. Thanks a bunch for tuning in. We'll catch you later.